So today I want us to talk about social insurance number. The importance of social insurance number, that's SIN number, cannot be stressed enough if you are coming into Canada as a newcomer. For a temporary resident holder, your social insurance number is necessary for you to be able to work in Canada and even be able to access government programs and benefits like employment insurance and even Canada pension plan. And also, as a temporary resident holder, your social insurance number is one of the identifications that you'll be able to present to most companies if you want to access any form of credit, especially when you have not been able to get access to other form of identification. And as somebody who work in a company where I'm interacting with people on a daily basis and having access to their social insurance number, I think it would be good to at least share with you the importance of your social insurance number. Some of the things that you can do to protect it, because if anybody else get access to it, you can be exposed to fraud one way or the other. And for someone who just landed, the last thing that you want to happen is for your social insurance number to be exposed and have people start acquiring products and assets in your name, which might end up affecting your credit in the long run. There are 4 things that I will talk to you about. The first thing is what actually is a social insurance number. Then secondly, we will look at the benefits of a social insurance number to you as a temporary resident holder in Canada. Then we can also look at how you can apply for your social insurance number and some of the requirements for you to get your social insurance number. Then I will look at some of the questions that people have been asking me so that we can all learn from this. So what is the social insurance number? To work in Canada as a temporary resident holder or participate in any government program or benefit, you are supposed to have a social insurance number. Having an SIN number also means that you are the only person who can actually use this number to be able to file for your tax returns. So this number can also serve as your tax identification number. And if you've spoken to anybody who has been in Canada for some time, they will tell you the importance of actually filing your taxes when you land in Canada. So because this is a unique number to just you and nobody else shares the same number with you, the onus lies on you to keep this number confidential. You are not supposed to at least share this number with anyone. The fact that this number is unique to just you, it means that this number can actually be used to identify you and you alone. So anything that is done with this number will actually come directly back to you. This is a 9-digit number that normally when you go to Service Canada, they will share with you after they've gone through the process of at least putting you into the system. This number is used to identify people who earn income through work or investment. 2, pay taxes. 3, contribute to their pension plans. 4, use government services. So it is a good idea to apply for your SIN number as soon as you can, especially when you land in Canada. My advice would be that at least the first couple of days, it should be one of the topmost priorities of your list. And another thing that you have to also notice, an employer will not be able to pay you if they don't have your SIN number. And one thing that you also have to notice that the law in Canada requires employers to ask you for your SIN number at least 3 days after you started work. Now that we know what the SIN number is, let's look at some of the benefits of the SIN number. Number 1 is it improves your chances of landing a job. In order for you to work in Canada or even access any government benefits, you will need a SIN number, because without a SIN number, most employers wouldn't even take the risk of even offering you a job, because how else are they going to pay you? And even for them to even look up your record to see whether they can trust you and even allow you into their premise. So if your plan is to work when you get to Canada, try as much as possible to at least get a SIN number within the first week of landing. Number 2 is it makes you eligible to file for taxes and receive a tax refund. As a newcomer to Canada, when the tax season opens up, they expect you to file for taxes. And the good thing about Canada is when you file for taxes and you've paid more taxes than you were actually supposed to pay, they will actually issue you a tax refund. And as I'm talking to you now, I came in less than a year ago and I've already received my tax refund. I remember when the check landed in my mailbox and I deposited it and it reflected, I was like, wow. So guess what? Even if you are not working when you arrived here, if you are a student, you might be able to get some tax refund, even on your tuition fee. So getting that SIN will allow you to be able to file for your taxes so that at least you can get some tax refund if it's due you. The third benefit is the SIN allows you to access the benefits and services from the government programs. So with that SIN, you are able to access most of the government programs and benefits that currently exist. So things like employment insurance, you'll be able to access it. And even the Canadian pension plan, you might be able to access it with that SIN that you'll be given. And these programs offers benefits like loans and retirement and even disability pensions if you need them. So now that we've looked at what the SIN is, the benefits that it offers you, and the fact that you need to keep it confidential when you get it so that you are not exposed to fraud, let's look at how you can apply for your SIN and some of the requirements that will be needed. So there are 3 ways that you can apply for your SIN if you are interested in getting one. The first one is an in-person application, and that is what most people end up doing because that ends up being one of the fastest way to get your SIN, because basically you just have to walk into any Service Canada center and join the queue, and as soon as they are done putting you in the system, they will issue your SIN, print it out for you, and you just walk out. And most times you will have at least one Service Canada within 100-kilometer radius of possibly where you are staying. You can just go into Google, search for Service Canada, and there's a high chance that there will be one closer to you that you can just walk into and get this one done with. And at most Service Canada, the requirements that they will ask from you: 1, your Canadian PR card, especially for permanent resident holders. For temporary resident holders, they will either ask for your work permit or even your study permit, so that at least they will know what kind of permit that you are applying under. Then they will ask for your passport as a photo identification. And most times they will ask for your residence in Canada. Then the other thing that they will ask for is they will ask for your parents' name, just to verify that it matches to what you put on your application when you submitted it. And this will end up being one of the key questions that they will ask you most times when you need to go back and, let's say, reapply for one or even do any verification online. From my experience, they will either ask for your mother's maiden name or one of your parents' name to verify that at least it matches what is on your record. The second option that you can use to apply for your SIN is either through an online application. And for online applications, you can apply for it through the Government of Canada SIN websites. And I'll do well to share at least a link to that website in the description column. So if you're interested in using the online application, you can check it out and possibly use it. And from my research, for the online application, there are 3 documents that they will ask you for if you decide to use the online application. Will be 1, proof of your residence in Canada. So that means if you're a permanent resident holder, you will need your PR card. If you're a temporary resident holder, they will need your work permit or even your study permit. Then they will need a valid identification. So it might either be your passport or either form of government accepted identification that you currently have. Then you will be required to provide an official Canadian address whilst putting it through the application. So at least you need to have all these 3 things ready if you want to apply for the SIN through the online application. And with that one, compared to the in-person application, it might take you some time for you to be able to at least receive your SIN number. So if you need it urgently, the online application might not be the best option for you. Then the third option that you can use to apply for your SIN is through the mail application. And to apply for your SIN through the mail option in Canada, you must complete the application form and submit it to this address. And for the mail applications, the same requirements that apply to both in-person and online application will apply to you. So you will need your proof of residency in Canada, an identification, that's maybe your passport, and a valid address in Canada for them to be able to at least process your application and send back your SIN to you. Now let's look at some of the questions that I've been getting, especially about SIN, from potential temporary resident holders and even people who are already in Canada. The first one is, where can I find my social insurance number? So your SIN can be found in one of the following ways. One is it can be found through your income tax return. The second one is it can be found through your tax slips, that's your T4s. The third way will be it can be found through your record of employment. You can also find it through your RRSP, that is your Registered Retirement Savings Plan contribution. Then the last but not least option is you can find it through your employer. Sometimes you can just ask them and they will be able to give it back to you. So there's a high chance they have it. So the second question is, what will happen if I change my name or even my address? My advice is, when you change your name or your address, make sure to contact the government of Canada to try and update that information on your SIN. Unfortunately, I had the opportunity of going through this and I saw how difficult sometimes it can be if you don't do that. So as soon as you change your name or your address, make sure you contact them through the government of Canada SIN websites and make the necessary updates, or walk into any Service Canada and get them to update your record. Because if you fail to do so, you might miss important information concerning your SIN. The next question is, what should I do if my temporary social insurance number is expired? The truth is, there's no expiration on your temporary social insurance number. The only thing that happens is when you get a permanent number, your temporary number will just be removed. And you now have to just use your permanent number. And one other thing that I have a lot of people asking me is, what happens if I lose my card? What happens is Service Canada will not reissue you a new social insurance number if you lose the card or even the paper that it was printed on. The only thing that they will do is just reprint a new confirmation letter for you, which has the old number on it. But if you can establish that your SIN number has actually been stolen or there has been an identity theft, then what they can do is they will reissue you a new social insurance number that you can use in your name so that you can help protect your own record and not be exposed again. The other question that people end up asking me is, can a Canadian immigrant apply for a SIN number before they get to Canada? From my experience, most temporary resident holders are not able to apply for a SIN number before they get to Canada, because you will need to show your proof of residence, which is either your study permit or even your work permit. And that one is not issued to you before you land in Canada, because it is issued at the port of entry. So basically, you cannot apply for your SIN number before you receive this particular permit. That's your work permit or your study permit. So as a temporary resident holder, you are able to only apply for your SIN number after you've entered Canada. That's after you've gone through the port of entry and received these permits. So these are a few things that I felt I should share with you concerning SIN number, because I realize most people don't have much information when it comes to SIN number, and either what they end up doing is exposing their SIN number and being a victim of identity theft, or they get bad advice and they don't even apply for SIN number when they land, and they find out when it's too late that they actually need a SIN number. If you have any experience concerning SIN number, feel free to share it in the comment section so that we can all learn from each other. And if you got value out of this video, kindly share it with your family and friends who are on the journey to come to Canada. And if you love this video, kindly hit the like button so that YouTube will see value in this video, and also share with other people. And also, if you are not part of this family, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can join us and we all learn together. And if you want to at least connect with me, I always share with my link to my Calendly in my description column, where if you want to talk to me on a one-on-one, you can at least click on it and book a one-on-one with me where we can have a conversation about any topic that at least you want to talk about. Basically, you pick what we need to talk about and we will have that discussion so that you can learn from my experience and also help improve yours. So as all of the mistakes that we did, you don't end up repeating those mistakes, and at least you can have a better experience. Until the next video, cheers.